would like to cycle this lonely sandbar.
Nice. Yeah. So in response, cycle remote island.
In response, I would like to predict.
Whoa!
In response, I will memory lapse.
In response, I would like to magical hack your original Dandan.
This is so wild. What's up? It's Shuffle Up and Play. I can't remember what we're doing today because what we're doing today is playing Forgetful Fish. This is a format also known as Dandan, colloquially, and I wanted to see what it's all about, so I invited rival YouTuber Rhystic Studies, even though we are in direct competition with each other for those precious clicks.
Yes.
Here to not only demonstrate the format, but to play against friend of the channel, Georg, who creates no content, does nothing.
No clicks.
Offers not. That's why I love having you here, because I'm in no way threatened by you.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah,
I'm happy you're here too. You're one of my favorite people ever, and this is one of my favorite formats ever.
Keep that in, keep that in.
Yeah. So what is Forgetful Fish and how is this played? For those who have not seen your already very successful video on the format, which you should go watch after this video. Or maybe after this video, watch another Shuffle Up and Play, and then you can get around to
You should just go straight to Forgetful Fish from here. How's that?
Just unsubscribe from TCC and go straight to Rhystic Studies. There you go.
All right, so the format is formally named Forgetful Fish. It was invented by Nick Floyd. He's a passionate game designer. He's invented a couple of other formats, like casual formats for Magic. He really was passionate about this idea, and he got a bunch of he signed up to a bunch of forums to try to get a bunch of people to play. It caught on years later. It caught on many years after he originally posted. As Prof said, this is informally called Dandan. And the reason is because the entire format is revolving around one card from Arabian Nights called Dandan. Dandan is a 4/1 fish, and it can only attack if your defending player controls an island. And if you don't control an island, you have to sacrifice Dandan. The core, twist and gimmick of the format is that we both share a deck. What this format is based on is basically, it's a blue mage war. So we're playing only islands and a couple of lands that manipulate the top of the library. But since we're both drawing from the same deck, it's a lot of concern and mind games about the top of the library. The old classic like Princess Bride Battle of Wits scenario is gonna unfold in this format, so.
You also share a graveyard.
Yes, we share a graveyard, and because the only way to deal damage is with Dandan, that means if you connect 5 times, if you hit your opponent 5 times with the fish, then you win. So instead of representing life totals with D20s, we're just representing life totals with 5 Shuffle Up and Play coins, and the first to 5 hits wins. It's once you see it, you believe it, of how silly and fun this format is and how complex and deep it can become. So yeah, I'm stoked to show it, I'm stoked to play, and I'm stoked to show you.
I don't believe it, but I've never seen it, so I guess I will need to see it and then I might believe it. How do you begin? Do you determine what's the starting move here?
This is also part of the charm. So like, it's similar to poker where I'll shuffle the deck here and then I'll deal 7 cards one at a time. And then since I dealt, Georg can decide if he wants to go first or if he wants to go second.
All right.
Okay.
Normal rules of Magic otherwise. Like if you've played Magic, you can play this. We'll describe a couple of the weird corner case cards as they come up and let it rip.
Yeah, a lot of the intrigue of the format is, especially when you play it for the first time, is trying to open your mind to suddenly see how these cards interact with the board, with the creatures, with the different spells. And in normal Magic, they work very differently, but suddenly these cards become, like this weird card is suddenly a removal spell, or this card can become a transformation spell or something like that. So
yeah, exactly. Like a scry land, you might scry a good card to the bottom, which you would never do in normal Magic. So that's just a little hint as to how this can.
You do that because you know your opponent's about to have access to it.
Precisely.
Right.
In theory, they're gonna.
This is cool. Okay, I want to see this. I want to see this. Yes. All right.
So, so I'll shuffle up and I will deal a hand of 7 cards to each player, and then we'll go from there. So that's our library.
I will go second.
Oh.
I'll let you show the format.
Is he allowed to look at his cards before making that determination or not?
I like this. I like the blind.
I thought he was supposed to look and determine.
Yeah, well,
Go ahead. All right.
I'm confident.
Okay, cool. Very good. Yeah, I'm gonna keep my hand.
Not the optimal one, but I will make it work.
Cool. Okay, so I'll be on the play. I'm going to start with Remote Isle. It enters tapped. You can cycle it for 2, and I'll pass to you.
So, draw. And I would like to play an island. And I'll just start with this. I'll brainstorm.
Yep, it resolves.
Yes, usually you wouldn't want to do that without a fetch or something like that, but this way I get to determine what my friend Sam gets to draw next turn. So I will draw 3.
So you're going to look to put the worst possible card back on there. Now, early game, but later in the game, that could be a lot more critical.
Yeah, George is setting up a perfect draw for himself on turn 3. Later in the game, you have to think further ahead because I could potentially draw George's best card.
This is really interesting.
Yeah.
This card on top, and then this one here. And then we will see if that was a good idea or not. We put the cards in the middle because the deck lists are often known to both parties, so lets players to keep track of what could be still in my opponent's hand, in the deck, and so on. So, and then there's cards that return cards from the graveyard. So we always need to know what is in there. So that's why I put it in the middle, and I will pass the turn.
Okay, I'll untap and draw what George gave me on the top. Thank you so much.
How bad is it?
It's really good. It's a basic island.
Yeah, it's the best card in Magic.
Namesake of the format, one half of it, Forgetful Fish, like George was mentioning. The forgetful part is a card called Memory Lapse. There are 10 Dandans in the list and 8 Memory Lapses, and that's part of the sub-game. So I'll start us off with Dandan.
There it is.
So, I always thought Dandan were the boats.
Yeah, me too. Everyone did.
Yeah, this is Dan, and that's Dan as well.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
With the
Dan.
Or
accent,
it was
right?
like a transmorphic fish that is like in boat form or something like
Correct.
that.
All right.
I still have a hard time seeing the actual fish on there, but I believe it.
Well, you're gonna have to deal with it now, so pass the turn.
Well, I do have the exact thing for it. So I'm gonna play an island, and I'm going to bend your mind. So bend your mind, Commander All-Star. Change the text of target permanent by replacing all instances of one color word or basic land type with another. I will change islands, I will change it into forests.
Good.
Right? And I will target the Dandan.
Yep.
What does that do then, Sam?
So this turns it, basically it's Fatal Push. It just kills Dandan because Dandan checks to see if defending player controls, or if you control an island.
No, a forest.
But now it's like checking to see.
You don't have any forests.
Correct.
Rookie
So
mistake.
This is one of the couple of removal spells, just clean removal spells for Dandan. So now Dandan's in the yard, and we'll stack it accordingly. All right.
And I will pass the turn.
Very good.
Dealt with the first threat, 9 more.
9 more it is. Next, I'm going to 1 mana up, eh?
I do have 1 mana up.
Okay.
I tell you this, I don't have any mind bends.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
good.
Because it's there.
Magical hack?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna tap 2. We're gonna try once again for Dandan.
Okay. I would like to magical hack it.
Okay, good.
So magical hack does the exact same thing that mind bend does,
Yeah.
but this time I will choose planes.
Sure. Okay.
Mix it up.
Just to mix it up. I don't know. It's to keep,
That's a dead fish.
All right, okay.
All right.
fish be dead.
Second main, I'm gonna play Is It Boilerworks for turn?
Ooh.
It is.
It's a bounce land, so it makes me return a land I control to my hand. It's actually gonna be Island.
Ooh. That does tell me that Sam probably doesn't have too many lands in hand anymore.
Maybe. Go ahead.
Okay. So let me see what's up. The favorite step of each Magic player, the draw step.
Yeah.
Wunderbar, wunderbar. I will play my island, and I will pass the turn. There are only a few usage, or really just one usage for the Is It Boilerworks, right? So that's one of the few ways to make red mana, and there is the card Mystical, what was it
Mystical
called?
Retrieval, yeah.
Yes.
That requires red mana and flashback. So
Yes.
red mana sources are very scarce, and they can determine late game stuff. We'll play Island, as we've seen before.
Yeah.
Dandan.
Wow.
Interesting.
Does it resolve?
It will resolve, yes.
I was gonna say in the tank with the proverbial fishes. And then I'll pass to you.
I will draw for turn.
Okay.
I'm gonna play an island, and I am going to pass turn.
Wow.
Oh.
It's blue magic.
Yeah, it is blue
Why
magic.
would I cast stuff on my turn?
Usually when you pass and you have a Dandan in play, you start to feel like very ahead. So we'll test you. All right, I'm attacking with Dandan for 4.
Okay, I would like to unsubstantiate. So the unsubstantiates return target spell or creature to its owner's hand.
Yeah, that resolves.
Okay.
Okay, so that goes back to my hand. Second main, I will tap 2
Yeah.
to play.
Dan.
How did you know?
Because there's no other creatures.
Very good.
Tap 2 to play Dandan.
Yes.
Resolves.
Yes, resolves.
All right, and then my land for turn is the second Is It Boilerworks.
Ooh.
And
There's only 2 in the deck?
Only 2 in the deck. And I'm gonna return Remote Isle this time,
Oh, okay.
partially because
That's a lot of
the
mana.
astute among us will know that if I returned islands, then Dandan would die. So be careful, you know. Live by the sword, die by the sword.
It could have been really funny though.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, bounce island, sacrifice
Don't you want
Dandan.
to do that for the content?
Now that's mind games. Yeah. Kill my own Dandan.
Are you
Yeah, I'm
casting
done.
your turn?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Well. I would like to cast Repulse, targeting the Dandan. The Repulse returns target creature to its owner's hand, and I get to draw a card.
Okay, yeah, that resolves.
Okay.
Dandan back in my hand.
I will draw, and then I am going to play this tapped Flooded Plain. This is a slow fetch, and the main idea is, well, to get a island, but sometimes, for example, if you brainstorm or if your opponent memory lapse or something, you want to make sure that they don't get the card back. So that's what the fetches are for.
Yeah, the shuffle effects are very strong in this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will pass the turn.
All right, end of your turn, I'm gonna tap 2 mana on my Boilerworks, and I'm gonna cycle Remote Isle.
Okay, I know about this. I will let that resolve.
All right, okay. So that goes to the yard, and I draw a card.
At some point, I'm hoping you stop casting that Dandan.
When are you gonna cast a Dan of your own?
Well, once I draw one.
Yeah.
Outside of these 3 in my hand, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, you've seen it before and you'll see it again. Well, actually, we're gonna start by playing Basic Island.
Okay.
And then tap 2 for...
A Dandan. Very
Guess
good.
who's back?
It's the
Back
fish.
again. Dandan's
Dandan.
back.
I will let that resolve.
All right, I'm done. Your turn.
Okay. I will untap. I would like to draw for turn.
Among the many arguments that Magic players like to get into is defining tempo. Is this tempo?
Well,
it?
nothing has happened so far.
This is like tempo control, like
Yeah.
in times 2.
Yes. Yeah. Are we in a tempo war? I don't know. You decide.
I would like to pass the turn.
I love it. Okay. Really?
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. At the end of your turn,
Yes.
I would like to tap an Is It Boilerworks to cycle Remote Isle for 2 mana.
Okay, I will let that resolve.
All right. So I'm going to put that in the yard and draw a card.
Sam is ecstatic here that he doesn't.
I can't believe it. I've got to untap 3 times with Dandân. Still not done damage, but all right. Draw a card for turn. Go to combat.
Okay.
Swing with the Dandan. Give me your worst. 5 cards in hand.
Yeah, so I would like to cast Metamorphose.
Okay.
So what Metamorphose does, it puts target permanent and an opponent controls on top of its owner's library, so on top of our library, and then that opponent gets to kind of show and tell, right? Put a target artifact, creature, enchantment, or land into play. Okay. So my hope is that I get to put it on top and I finally get to draw a Dandan.
That resolves, yeah. So Dandan will go to the top.
Yes.
Okay, so now I have priority. I'm going to tap 2 on Boilerworks.
Yes.
I'm gonna cast Chart a Course.
Okay.
Chart a Course says draw 2 cards, then discard a card unless you attacked with a creature this turn.
I would like to respond. I would like to crack this fetch land
Okay.
to make sure that you don't draw the other Dandan.
Okay. In response, I will tap 1 to cast Brainstorm.
Interesting. In response, I would like to pay 2 to cast a Narset's Reversal targeting the Charter Course.
Okay, so what is Narset's
So Narset's Reversal copies target's instant and sorcery spell, then return it to its owner's hand. You may choose new targets for the copy.
Gosh, that's really good.
So the idea being that I get to bounce a Charter Course, I get to draw the Dandan on top because Sam doesn't have a way to cast the Charter Course instant speed.
Correct. Yep. In response, I'm going to. Oh gosh, mana is tough now. Okay. So you're going to get the Dandan on top. This is so good. Dandan rules.
Now, why did you dramatic reversal the charter course and not the brainstorm? Because both would have gotten you the Dandan.
Well, yeah, so if I cast a Narset's Reversal on the Brainstorm, he gets the Brainstorm back in hand, I have a copy on the stack, he then gets to cast a Brainstorm again in response, and then still draw the Dandan.
Oh, so since
Right?
it's a sorcery,
Yes, since this is a sorcery, he can't respond with casting
That's really
this.
clever.
Yes.
These are a few choices that
Yeah.
Brandon's made that like sorceries cost something. Sometimes in blue decks, everyone can play instant speed stuff and you never have to like be vulnerable, but this is a spot where I'm vulnerable. I have to respond to this.
You don't have to. The rules state that you can just let this resolve.
No, I think I'm going to pay a blue in response and I'm going to cycle Lonely Sandbar.
Okay. Well, there's no Force of Will in this format,
No.
so I have to, and that wouldn't even do anything. So I would like to, let you draw the card.
Okay, so let's untangle the stack. So now I'm going to draw a card off of Lonely Sandbar.
Yes.
Which we know is Dandan.
Right.
So I have Dandan. Now your Narset's Reversal resolves.
So Narset Reserve will bounce this back to your hand.
Okay.
And then I get to have a charted course, and now I draw 2,
Yep.
but I have to discard because I didn't attack this turn.
Oh, trippy. Does that count if it copies? It still checks your condition?
I mean, it would resolve the card, and how does the card read?
It says, then discard a card unless you attacked with a creature.
So
this
since
turn.
I didn't attack, I will discard this island.
Okay.
So
Sweet.
now you get to brainstorm,
Yeah.
and then afterwards I get to fetch my island finally.
So we did the brainstorm fetch scenario. Yeah, this is how it went. Okay, so I'm gonna draw 3 cards.
Yes.
All right, draw 3.
So the question is did George draw a Dandan off of that charter course?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Well, I know, but
So now, this gets really trippy. Okay.
now George will be able to look at the top 2 cards and know what you put back. So you're keeping them hidden, but George is going to see them.
True, yeah, based on this is the worst part of the shuffle effect is that he gets to look now at the library. Yeah. So I put those 2 back, my brainstorm resolves, and then now your shuffle effect will resolve.
So you should show the 2. I feel you should show the 2 to all of us because you are looking at it, so it should just be known information. So Sam put back,
an island and take inventory.
so that might reveal some information
a
to us
little
about
bit,
Sam's
yeah,
hand.
totally.
So if you were to play very, very spiky,
Yeah.
Yes.
I would now go through this deck and look at all the copies that are still in the deck,
God.
and I could
Are you
figure
gonna-
out.
are you gonna do
I
that?
would
I'm gonna go
not
to
do
the
that.
bathroom.
I
know.
don't think
right.
I am.
Thank
I
you.
care enough.
That's a big point of contention in Dandan.
Yeah.
We've taken out spells like Mystical Tutor, where you can search the library for an instant or sorcery, because when you're playing at the highest level of a casual format, yeah, like in theory, if Braden searched the library, he could deduce what's in everyone's hand based on the information in the library, which is the worst part of the shuffle effects, so.
I wonder if there's a workaround for that.
Yeah, maybe like look at the top 5 if you want it, or top 10. you
Maybe
know?
it's for a search effect, your opponent just goes and, well, but then they look.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
a
hard.
third party goes, I
Oh,
should
that
go,
should be it.
I go and I take the island and deliver it
I love
and
it.
shuffle it.
That's it.
And
That's the
you know,
one.
George doesn't even need to do that system here because you're on shuffle up and play. The stakes have never been lower.
Yes, yes. Unless I play against you, then I have to.
Right,
you
right,
have
right.
to win.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love this solve. Yeah, you have to search the
That is a
library.
good solve,
It's
yeah.
perfect,
All right,
yeah.
yeah.
There's inevitably going to be someone watching, so
Yeah.
they have to do the
So
shuffle.
now the stack is empty.
Now the stack is empty and it's my turn still,
Yes.
and I'm going to tap 2.
Dan, no way, that's double blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a scenario where the red actually is hurting me because I can't cast Dandan. Although you have
There's no bounce land that creates double of the same
No,
one.
no, not
Yeah,
yet at least.
they're so.
Actually,
There's some
White and
colorless.
blue. Yeah, colorless one.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
not
yeah,
two
but
blue.
not-
The
double
original
blue.
Karoo does like white and
Right.
and one colorless.
So you have 4 in hand.
I do have 4 in hand, so I do feel behind because ultimately Dandan is a little bit of a card advantage game,
Yeah.
right? And Sam is 6 cards in hand and
Yep.
gets to draw 2 with a charter course.
Correct, which is what I'm gonna cast right now, because it still checks if I attack this turn, and I did. It's still that turn.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tap 2 for a charted course, I draw 2, and then I discard unless I attacked.
Astute players have already figured out that I should have removed the Dandan before the attack happened, instead of after declaring the attack. But you know, then
Attack, you can respond to attacks, yeah. Because charted course, it matters, yeah.
Right. So I didn't think about charter course. I was like, that shouldn't matter. And here we are.
It's like the classic, because it's an instant, you should play it at instant speed, but that's not always true. It teaches you how to play blue decks and sequence blue decks.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Well.
Or it exposes how bad you are at playing
Correct.
blue decks and sequencing blue decks,
that
which is
does
why
sound more like me.
George is sitting there. Well, I was going to praise you. I was going to say, which is why George is sitting there instead of me.
Yeah.
I don't need to reveal my ignorance to the world. It's already been revealed.
Well, I do feel like I have to cast
There
the
it is.
Dandan. So I would like to cast my Dandan. I believe this is my first one.
It is your first
So,
one. Yeah. How's it feel?
You
What's
never
it like to get-
You never forget your first. I would like to pass the turn afterwards.
I will say there's a charm also about this format where if you know nothing and you just play, there's a beginner's luck.
Yeah.
Sometimes you trick yourself too much in the mind game, and if you just play the cards, sometimes you win because it's brute force magic.
Yes.
So you might,
You make them
never
have it.
discredit yourself. Exactly.
right?
I untapped, I drew for turn.
So many cards in hand.
Dandan.
Okay, I know that
Dandan.
one. I would like to memory lapse the Dandan.
Okay.
Make it forget.
That's right. Now we've resolved the name of the formats. Okay, so what does
memory
it do?
lapse is a counter target spell, but it puts it on top of the library. So really, in this case, it can be a lot stronger than a normal counter spell, because now I get to draw the Dandan if this resolves.
Yes, that resolves. So now Dandan goes to the top of the library.
You got a draw spell there, Sam?
No, I have something sillier. My land for turn is Halimar Depths.
Oh no.
When Halimar Depths enters the battlefield, it enters tapped. I look at the top 3 cards in my library, or our library, and I put them back in any order. So I'm gonna look at the top 3, one of which is Dandan, of course. And then I'm gonna put them back in any order. So now I have to think. His turn, my turn.
I have a lot of card draw spells in hand, so it doesn't matter.
That means he
just
has
put
none.
just put the Dandan on top.
Yeah. This is great. Okay, I'm gonna put them like wait, your turn, my turn. Yeah. Ooh, cards in hand 3.
I have 3, yeah.
As you said,
It's 3 more Dandans.
Okay, good. I'm gonna arrange them like that,
Okay.
and I'm at 5, 6 cards in hand myself. I'll pass to you.
Okay. Let me see. Did you leave me? Okay, that's exactly what I wanted. I'm gonna play this island. I would like to go to combat.
Here we are again.
Yeah.
Do you have Charter Course? How many are there? I've only cast one.
There's
I've cast
one.
twice.
Exactly.
I've cast one twice. You copied it.
Yeah, so we had 3 resolve. No, not really resolve, but like on the stack.
Okay. I'm going to tap an Boilerworks.
Okay.
We're at the top of combat. So blue and red floating. I'm gonna use the blue from my own magical hack.
Okay, so
Now you got to name a land, though.
So I'm gonna name Swamp.
The land that you choose to name other than island reflects a lot about you.
What it's reflecting is we've now covered the gamut.
No one did mountain yet.
Oh no, you're
Yeah,
right.
that's right.
Wait, did I start? I thought I. Yeah, go ahead.
it resolves. No,
Okay.
this is my first Dandan. You couldn't have done anything.
That's true, actually.
So it dies.
Okay, so magical hack is in the yard. So is the 3rd Dandan prof? Is that right?
Yes.
I think
don't
so.
know.
Yeah, I think there's 3 in there. Okay. Yeah, it's still your turn.
This is tough. This is tough.
Second main, eh?
Oh, pass the turn.
I didn't want that. I really didn't. Okay.
So I'm guessing you draw the Dandan now.
But maybe not.
Maybe not. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
We'll see. Okay.
So what Sam is essentially saying, he was hoping that I draw a card, so he put on top the Dandan in 3rd position, so I draw the next card, draw not the Dandan.
Yeah.
But he didn't expect me
Yeah.
not to do anything.
I thought you at least had something. Okay. Here goes again.
Okay.
Prof.
That sure is a fish.
Sam.
Georg.
That is a fish.
All right. Play Temple of Epiphany, my land for turn.
Okay.
When it enters, I scry 1.
Okay.
Here we go.
All the red sources.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
It's like one-sided dominance on the red sources. Okay, I'm gonna bottom this.
It is kind of like, Jace the Mind Sculptor when you fail seal someone. Like this almost
Yeah.
feels better than him leaving it on top, because if he leaves it on top, I know that's a bad card for me.
It's really interesting,
Or-
the shared library aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Sam has a draw card spell.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass to you now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I go to my turn. This is tough. This is tough. When in doubt, you cast the Dandan.
Yeah. When in doubt, Dan out. So you have 3 cards in hand?
I do have 3 cards in hand.
Okay. In response, I will cast Memory Lapse targeting Dandan with Is It Boilerworks.
That is sad. Because I will have to let that resolve.
Okay. So Memory Lapse to the yard and Dandan to the top of the library.
That is correct.
Hopefully I draw it next turn.
I will pass the turn.
What's been your favorite card so far, Prof?
Definitely Memory Lapse.
Yeah?
I mean, Dandan. No, I actually, Memory Lapse for me is a card I had in high school because of Homelands, right? That's from Homelands. Memory Lapse?
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
Yeah.
what's the symbol of that?
Yes, well, that's the Mirage version.
Oh,
but
that's
I
the
think-
Mirage version. I think it started in Homelands,
Yeah.
which I got way more boxes than anyone should ever purchase of Homelands, meaning more than one. And I had so many Homelands cards, and so Memory Lapse was one. Yeah, it had the one with the puzzle piece coming out of the brain as Homelands.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Exactly right.
Yes.
I'll draw for turn. That's another detail of Nick Floyd when you wrote up the primer for Forgetful Fish. Part of the legend of it is he had a bunch of extra cards in a binder. The classic, like, what do I do with these cards that are bad?
Yeah.
And Memory Lapse was like the moment of, ooh, that was the eureka moment. So.
The format is called Dandan, but really the card for this game that makes it all work is Memory Lapse.
Yes.
That is essentially, because Dandan could be any creature, really.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In a way. But the Memory Lapse, where it puts it on top, rather, that's where a lot of the gameplay comes from. Yeah.
Okay, so I drew for turn. As you do, we'll go to combats right away. So I'm gonna swing with Dandan in the
I
red
will
zone.
take the
Whoa.
first damage. So we have, like we said, the life total 5 attacks.
Yeah.
So I will roof one of these.
And there is no way to ever gain life, correct?
Correct.
So that's it.
Yep.
Once the coin is lost, it's never coming back. Once George gets hit 4 more times, he's gone.
Correct. Exactly.
All right?
Second main, I'm going to cast Dandan.
Okay. I have seen that card before.
This specific one.
This specific one.
There is also with, like, if you're building a Dandan deck, there is something to say about making sure every card is the exact version because of the subtle information reveal. Like, if this was a different island, you know, that's the savvy stuff that people keep track of. But yeah, I try to keep them all the same. No unnecessary info. Does it resolve?
It does resolve.
Baby. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to cast Dandan.
There's
Wow.
so many Dandans.
George, you're in big trouble.
I am in a lot of trouble.
This is the stuff. Yeah, Dandan number 2. Does it resolve?
Yes,
Okay.
I am essentially one of those boats right now.
Go ahead.
I will.
You're going to be the guy who fell out of the boat in a minute.
No doubt.
I would like to play an island.
Yeah.
I would like to make one of them to go missing.
Okay.
So that means I would like to target this Dandan to go missing. What it does is it puts it on top of the library, and I get a clue token.
Okay. Yeah, that resolves. So Dandan to the top, and you now have a clue.
So, with that said, I do feel like I have to try to draw this Dandan. So I would like to crack this clue.
Okay.
Draw a card.
Resolves.
So I get to draw this Dandan, and
But-
then just hoping that I somehow hold on. I will pass the turn.
All right. Untap, upkeep, draw a card for turn. Like last turn, I'm just swinging, baby. Get the boats in there.
I will take 2.
Boom, boom, boom.
And right now, slowly we are getting even on cards in hand at least.
Yeah.
So it is something, but this is not looking great.
So next, we're at that point, like late in the control match when you're hitting with Snapcaster Mages and you feel very savvy, right? So I played Island for turn and I'm passing.
Draw for turn. I would like to cast Dandan.
Yes, it resolves.
So I'm trying to think if I should do something. You have how many cards in hand?
2.
2 cards in hand, which is not great for me. Pass the turn.
All right, so I'll untap and I'll draw for turn.
It's Dandan.
It's time to Dandan. Jam. 4.
I cannot not block, so I
Yeah.
would like to block one of them.
Okay, yeah, these 2 will trade and you'll take a coin.
Take a coin.
So you have basically one life left now,
One
right?
life left.
And then I will play Basic Island for turn and pass to you.
That's a lot of islands.
Gotta make him have it.
Gotta make him have it. I would like to draw.
Let her rip.
What did I get? I would like to make this go missing.
Sure.
So it goes on top of the library.
Yeah. And you get a clue again.
I get a clue again.
That's really good.
So now, I have to think, does Sam have a way to instant? And I will just crack it, try to draw it, because I don't know if I can handle another Dandan on the battlefield.
Okay, in response, I'm gonna pay Island to cycle Lonely Sandbar. Okay. Yeah, so I'll draw a card for turn. Yeah.
Sam, brutal. You're brutal.
Yeah,
And then now I get to draw for my clue.
yes.
Look, not a Dandan. I will pass the turn.
All right.
At least I have no way to die this turn.
Correct. No, Dandan.
That's for next turn.
Yes.
The boats are there, but they are slow, so Dandan.
Okay, that's a boat.
I'm passing. Your turn.
I will untap.
You gotta have it.
I will draw for turn. How about a mystical retrieval?
Okay.
This was one of those cards where once I started to see Sam play all these red sources, it's really bad for me because I have no way to cast this. So when I cast this, it is essentially giving Sam another card in hand.
And what does it do?
It returns target instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. So that is what I can do right now.
Okay, and do you have to target?
I have to target right now. So I'm targeting Magical Hack.
Okay, sure, that resolves.
I will take the Magical Hack into my hand, and I would like to pass the turn and try to stop you on your upkeep.
Okay, sure. So I'll go to untap. Now I'm in my upkeep.
Okay, so I would like to now Magical Hack and name the last one being Mountain.
Yeah, this is 4 magical hacks this game. All right, in response, I'm gonna tap 3, and I'm gonna cast Repulse, targeting my Dandan.
Okay. In that case, I would like to cast a Narset's Reversal targeting my Magical Hack.
Wow, God.
So the idea being I now get to do the Magical Hack and fizzle his Repulse.
Okay, yeah, that resolves.
So the Magical Hack goes back into my hand.
Yep.
I make another Magical Hack. I would like to name Forest now. So because Mountain didn't work.
How do you say forest in
Wald.
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 Good. All right, so you're naming Wald.
Yes. Any
Beautiful.
responses?
No, so you're gonna fizzle Repulse.
Yes.
And
that is pretty big for me.
It's huge. And then you kill Dandan.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, sweet, sounds good. So we're starting a second graveyard.
Wow,
here.
row 2.
So the question is maybe, okay, so I'm still in my upkeep.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a big deal, because otherwise I have access to Mystical
Yes.
Retriever. So I'm gonna go to my draw step.
Yes.
I'll draw. I know for sure you have Magical Hack in your hand.
Yes.
And
that was
3
the
cards.
one.
Yeah.
3 cards.
I will Mystical Retrieval. And the question is what I'm gonna target. So I'm gonna pay 3 mana, one of which is red from my Is It Boilerworks. So you got red, blue, and blue. To flashback Mystical Retrieval. So, Prof, you're in charge of exile.
All right, exiled.
Yep. So now I'm gonna target. What's the best card? I can get back an instant or a sorcery.
Charter Course is not bad if you're hurting for.
Don't help him. What are you doing?
Well, he doesn't know.
Easy now. Life total check.
No, I mean like he doesn't know if I'm saying the truth or not.
True.
Yes.
This is the battle away.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm gonna flashback Mystical Retrieval, and I'm gonna grab. This is so tricky because if you have Dandan, we're in a spot again. We're in the proverbial spot. It's like, do you want insurance or do you want to be proactive when you're in a winning position?
So we have 5 Dandans in the graveyard right now.
Yeah.
So half of them.
So half of them. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna go with the insurance.
Oh, 6 because you have 1 Dandan in hand, which you can't target.
So I'm gonna go with the insurance policy, and I'm gonna retrieve a Memory Lapse. Yeah, I'm just gonna grab Memory Lapse and put it to my hand. This is a play. This is a skill testing play. Mystical Retrieval is tough.
I thought you meant just adjusting the graveyard.
This is a skill issue. Yeah. Okay, so now I have Memory Lapse in the hands. You have 4 cards.
I have 4
cards.
cards.
One is Magical Hack.
1 is Magical Hack.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. So I'm passing to you now.
Well, very close to death, but not.
I didn't think you were
out.
gonna make it, actually.
I didn't think so either, so I'm just happy to be
Skinning your
here.
teeth here. I'm just happy to be here.
I would like to cast a Take Inventory. It draws a card, and then I draw cards equal to the amount of other Take Inventories. This is the first one. This is the one that feels the worst to cast.
Yep.
But at this point, there's not much going on. I don't have a Dandan, so I will have to be that. Reason being, if Sam has a Take Inventory in hand, now next turn he gets a card, get more cards out of it. But
Yeah.
I will draw for turn.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
will
this
pass the
is
turn.
first is the worst on Take Inventory. As the game goes on, there's 4 total in the deck. As the game goes on, they get really good.
Yeah.
Which is we're in that spot now. Okay, so you're passing.
I am passing. And the interesting part about Dandan is sometimes games can go very quickly. sometimes games end up a little bit longer and more tense. So I like to have a list of Dandan just with me. So for FNM or so on, in between rounds, I can ask, hey, my opponent, do you want to play a Dandan while we wait for the next round or something like that?
What I like about it is that your opponent doesn't need to have their own deck.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like a Magic experience, a guaranteed even power level. This is a strong 7, you know, but we're both playing for sure the same strong 7. So I'll start. I'm tapping 2 for Dandan.
So many Dandans. Okay. Sure.
Oops, all Dandans.
Oops, all Dandans. And then we're gonna tap 2 Is It Boiler Works for 4 mana total, and I'm gonna cast Mystical Retrieval again.
Okay.
So Mystical Retrieval is on the stack.
Target.
The target is, it's a good question. Here we go again. The target is Chart a Course.
Chart a Course.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of options. I can try to just kill the Dandan right now.
Yeah.
That is certainly an option, but that lets Sam cast a Mystical Retrieval from the graveyard again, because he has the access to the red mana source.
Yeah.
So I feel like to not die and like let him get the card advantage, I have to try to memory lapse the retrieval.
Okay. Oof. There's one more source of red mana in the deck, Temple of Epiphany. Yeah. So you're also aiming to get that. If you get that online, then the texture of that spell changes. So you're gonna memory lapse Mystical Retrieval.
Yes.
Really good. Yeah, that resolves. Sure.
Okay, so memory lapse goes on here,
Yeah.
goes on top. And so I'm curious to see that, because I know he has a memory lapse in hand that he didn't use it. So I'm thinking that he hopes that I cast it so he gets to do it from the graveyard.
What's that?
All that, right?
I'm following that?
Yeah.
I'm following it. I'm wondering, why didn't memory lapse the Dandan?
Because there I knew there is a memory lapse in hand.
Okay,
and I had
so he
no
would
way
memory
to,
lapse your memory lapse,
yeah,
so
exactly.
you're okay.
No, that was just a very like
And I
battle
also,
of wits.
yeah, and I do know that I have, like, we both know that I have the magical hack in hand.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, sure. So that's the end. I'm passing my turn at this point.
Okay. I will. That's an interesting.
I know that you know that I have.
I would like to
memory lapse.
predict.
Oh my god, okay.
So predict is name a card and put the top card of target player's library into his graveyard. If that card is the named card, you draw 2 cards, otherwise you draw 1 card.
Okay.
So I would like to cast this and wait for the reaction because I don't have to name until it resolves.
Yeah, until it,
Yeah.
the old pithing needle. Okay.
Wow.
So yeah, he
That's
knows.
clever. I like that move.
Yeah, he knows the top of the library. Yeah. I'm not gonna remind you in case you forgot.
Yeah. Just in case.
Oh, that's so savage. Okay, I'm gonna memory lapse that.
In that case,
Maybe that's wrong. Shoot, that's probably wrong. Okay.
I would like to let that resolve.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Okay.
Pass.
I would like to untap.
Yeah.
I would like to draw the predict.
Sure.
I would then like to cast.
Gosh, I'm so close. This is killing me.
He's killing George too.
Oh yeah, but it's not going to. He has magical hack at least.
Well, I'm gonna make you have it. I have a supplant form.
Wow. Okay.
So supplant form returns target creature to its owner's hand, and I get to put a token on the battlefield that's a copy of the creature. So I actually get a copy of the Dandan if that resolves.
Yes, it's going to resolve. So the token that I have for this is a treat from one of my good friends, Tyler Lieb, who likes to white border all of his cards. He gave me a magic carp that he white bordered for this exact scenario. So this is going to be the copy of Dandan.
That is great.
And I will say that like white bordered Pokemon cards look really good.
Yeah.
It's like very pretty look. It really brought out the watercolors in the illustration, I think. So
I think the older Pokemon art is really nice.
it's amazing.
It's really cool
All of it is
stuff.
perfect. So
This is a very dangerous play for me because I know that he will draw a Mystical Retrieval. He can cast the Mystical Retrieval, get back to supplant form, and try to supplant for me.
So why didn't you, since he that seemed like a bad move on Sam's part for doing the memory lapse, because then you could have just done what you were going to do
predict.
in terms of the predict. Why didn't you predict?
So I didn't predict in this place because flipping the Mystical Archive into the graveyard still draws Sam a card.
yeah.
But now that he used his memory lapse, this is a window for me to cast a supplant form.
Yeah.
Because it's a very expensive card.
Okay.
And it is very dangerous for me to cast it because he then gets to memory lapse and then
Right.
he has it.
Yeah.
Right? So I used this window where I felt like, okay, there's 1 card in hand
All right.
to try to get this done. So
But you don't, so yeah, you're right, and you only have 1 mana now, right?
yes, I only have 1 mana. I have
That's
the
a-
magical act.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
You have magical hack, but
Blue Magic players, am I right, folks?
am I right? I'll go to my upkeep. Any effects, George?
Nope.
Okay. No cryptic commands?
Nope.
All right, I'll draw a card. We know that I'm drawing Mystical Retrieval.
Yes.
Okay, and I have a Dandan at hand.
You do have a Dandan in it.
So now, is there a Retrieval in the yard? There is not.
No.
Because that's been exiled. There's 2 total.
Yes.
Oh,
And you can see here how the red mana really made an
Yeah.
impact this game. Because
Yes.
otherwise, it gave. I could have predicted and then cast the Mystical Retrieval, for example.
right.
But I was not able to do so here. So
Yeah, I'm gonna start by casting Mystical Retrieval off of my 2 Boiler Works. Does that resolve?
that does resolve.
Okay, I'm gonna target Supplant Form.
Okay. That resolves.
Okay, so now I have a Supplant Form. This is now in the yard, and I have 6 mana total. Yeah, go ahead, your turn.
Interesting. I will draw for turn.
Yeah.
Play this island. I would like to go to combat.
Yes.
I would like to attack with this Dandan.
Okay, no effects.
Okay. So here, my first damage,
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
damage.
it hits, it
Yeah,
connects.
Yeah, connects.
not to
There it
zero.
is. Yep.
And
No goose egg on your side. Yeah.
that's it.
Wow.
That's
All
it.
right.
That's it.
We
Okay.
got some blood in.
End of turn, I'm gonna Supplant Form targeting Magikarp.
Why didn't you do that? Why'd you let it connect?
I let it connect because since we're at end step, like he's not gonna chart a course, so he loses the value on that. Is charted? I think there's still 1 chart a course.
Yes.
This is like he also can't play another Dandan. You know, it's one of those scenarios. I can basically I can afford a hit here.
Yeah.
And Supplant Form is a total removal spell on a copy. Like if
Yeah.
that's a real Dandan, then
Yeah.
maybe I sequence it different.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm just choosing now because that'll actually kill that copy.
So I actually have
reversal?
to do that would be really interesting. I would like to see if I can.
Yeah, reversals also. There's already out of.
I would like to predict.
Cool. Oh, a blind predict.
Blind
I
predict.
love this. Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Cowards would say island here
Uh-huh.
because there's a lot of
How
islands.
sick is? What about Temple?
Huh?
This is the moment
Temple?
where. But if you name Temple, it's Temple. You mill it, so you'll never have access to red.
So I will take inventory. Because there's 3 in graveyard, and I'm not a coward, so I'm not gonna say island.
I love this. Good.
So-
Flip it.
Mind
No.
bend.
Oh.
Okay.
So I do draw 1 card though.
Does it take inventory?
It is not take inventory.
It's so cool.
I would like to unsubstantiate my token.
So this is still in response to Supplant Form.
Yes.
Okay.
So this will kill my own, but that was gonna die anyways. And this way I get to fizzle the spell so he doesn't get another
Yep.
Dandan.
Yep.
So
Okay.
I would like to do that.
That's good.
Yeah, I have no responses because I'm tapped out.
So the supplant form fizzles because I removed my own creature, and since it was my end step, it's your turn.
So at the end of the day, I still remove your creature.
Yeah, but you didn't get like a 6 mana removal spell that also took a card from my hand.
And I didn't get a Dandan.
Yeah.
So I'll just cast Dandan.
Okay.
For 2 mana, you know?
Okay.
We still have Retrieval there.
Yep.
So I'm gonna flash back Retrieval with 1 Boiler Works and a Halimar Depths
Yeah.
for 3 mana total.
Targeting.
Flashback, I'm gonna target Supplant Form.
That does it.
Okay, so Exile Zone.
Exile.
So no more Mystical Retrievals. So Form is in my hand.
You only have 5 mana on board though.
I know, but I haven't played a land this turn.
Oh, okay. That is
Speak it
really
into
bad.
existence.
This is really bad for me.
Yeah, it probably is.
This is probably the end for you.
So this
we'll
is
see.
Island.
We'll
We'll see. He's pulled some magic tricks already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right ahead, Mr. Blue Wizard.
Blue Wizard draws a beautiful spell
Okay.
because Blue Wizard is going to magical hack the deck.
Oh, I forgot you had that. Dang it.
You forgot?
Yes.
How on flavor?
That is true. That like you also forget what has happened in the sim. Okay. Very meta. Okay, so you're magical hacking. Now we're at a point where. Oh my god.
You know that I know that you know.
Okay, yeah, obviously I'm gonna Supplant Form my own Dandan here. So in response, I'm casting Supplant Form for exactly 6. So it's gonna return my Dandan and also put a token onto the battlefield.
In response, I would like to memory lapse the supplant form.
Okay, sure, that resolves. I'm tapped out now, so. Okay,
So,
so
This memory lapse puts the supplant form back on top,
Yep.
and then the magical hack is going to destroy the Dandan because I'm going to say planes.
nice. How do you say planes in German?
Ebene.
Ebene. All right.
A lot more syllables.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you say I think I'm in trouble in German?
Ich glaube, ich bin in Gefahr. I'm in danger.
I am in danger. 1 card in hand.
One card in
All right.
hand.
And you know I'm drawing supplant form.
I will show Prof what it is. So I will pass the turn.
Okay, so untap, upkeep.
George.
I know. Oh, George. Okay, I'm going to untap, upkeep. I like putting my lands where they should be. Beautiful, beautiful.
The red mana doesn't matter anymore.
Now it doesn't matter,
So
but I
now-
got a
yeah.
lot more value than you did.
That is true. That is why I had that. So if you remember turn 1 where I could brainstorm, I could have given you the mystical retrieval, but I gave you an island.
Yeah.
And then instantly you played the red mana source. I'm like, now this is kind of dead in my hand because it's like it doesn't do that much. Yeah.
I'm passing. Go ahead.
Okay. I know there's a supplant form over there.
Yeah.
I will pass the turn.
Okay. Untap, upkeep, draw a card.
It is something.
It's something.
Oof. That's a Dandan. I
turn.
will resolve.
Yeah. This might be the boat that.
I would like to take inventory
No.
to draw 2 cards.
Okay, yeah,
Alright,
sure.
So I get to
God, that's
1.
so good.
The library's getting low there.
It is. Do you have another? Take inventory for 3.
Yes,
So
I will
nasty.
take inventory
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, so good. But it's like you're
And
behind,
George pulled it out.
for 2.
and there's no flashback.
3.
We've already killed both hacks, I think, and both mind bends. It's hard to say. A Dandan's a removal
Yeah.
spell. Well,
So many things.
take inventory for 4. Just do it.
Take inventory for 4. I will pass the turn.
What?
Let's see if I can do
Alright.
something.
All right, untap. I'm on my upkeep.
Yes.
I'm going to draw.
Yes.
All right, going to draw.
Yeah.
Going to attacks.
Yes. I would like to cast Metamorphose targeting Dandan. That's the one where it puts it on top, and you get to put a creature or so into battlefield.
Okay. In response, I'm casting supplant form on Dandan.
Okay.
So I'll cast with 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me tap my mana so we know how much we have. 5, 6.
Yeah.
So I've got 5 mana left.
In response, I would like to memory lapse the supplant form. So now, if there is a removal attack, like a counter spell, I'm essentially dead, but gotta make him have it.
You got it?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. Okay, yeah, so supplant form is gonna go to the top.
Then the Dandan goes on top.
Okay. Gosh, you're so resilient.
I don't want to die,
All right,
man.
so Dandan goes to the top, right?
Yes.
From Metamorphose,
Yeah.
and then I can't. So I can put an artifact or a creature into my hands,
Yeah.
which I don't.
No, onto the battlefield.
Onto the battlefield.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's time.
To diminish the returns?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
All right, so this is the first time this card is being played. So basically, it says each player shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into his or her library.
Oh no.
Yeah,
we're
and
starting
then-
over.
And then we exile 10 cards. That's the twist. It's very fun because those 10 cards might matter. We exile 10 cards, and then we each draw 7. And this is a spell that, like, if you're behind, like I am now, he has 4 cards in hand, I have 1.
Yeah.
And I just want to show you how behind you were.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
have 2 Dandans in
God.
hand.
Yeah, okay. So this basically creates parity from a situation which you are behind. But we exile 10 cards, which might matter once we're done, and the red mana might start to matter again. I guess it doesn't because it's exiled. Okay.
Yep.
So let's do this. We're gonna shuffle up everything. I have
Shuffle up and play.
Yeah, we have to shuffle up. Yeah, diminishing returns is legitimately shuffle up and play.
So I was sitting here and I was thinking, wow, George got steamrolled. And then I was like, oh, wow, George got 1 hidden, and that's all right. And then when George drew all those cards, I thought George has got him. I literally was like, George has got too many cards to ever let Sam do anything. But not now, we're all the way back to 1.
We're all the way back to 1, yeah. Okay, so diminishing returns goes to the yard. I have to shuffle this up, and then we're gonna exile the top 10 cards. So we get to see what those are.
Yeah.
We get to kind of plan our hands and the rest of the game based on what is exiled. It's gonna matter. If 10 Dandans get exiled,
Then we are drawing.
yeah. In the weirdest RNG moment of all time. We just draw the game, which is not unprecedented for a show like this. where
Yes,
The most
especially this show. As anyone who has been watching us since episode 1 knows.
Okay. Let's see.
All right,
We
I'm
can-
gonna have you cut the deck, and then Prof, you are the exile master.
All right, I'm
you
the
get
exile
You get
master
to exile
here.
10, and if you would
Top
just
10.
read
All right,
them
top
for us,
10.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're exiling a Dandan.
Okay, 1 out of 10.
We're exiling a
Repulse.
Repulse.
Okay, no 10 Dandans. That's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Brainstorm. Take inventory.
That's actually pretty huge.
Another Dandan.
Yeah.
Gone Missing. Island. Brainstorm. Mind Bend. And finally, Chart a Course. These are all exiled and owned by me now.
Okay, so now I'm going to deal 7, and
No mulligans this
What
time.
did you learn from the exile? What are you thinking?
You're gonna deal 7 damage? What?
No, Dandan's
So-
the only source of damage.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
There was no doubles. That is good, but there's also no lands, or like only 1 land or so. So I am hoping that with 2 Dandans gone, I get a bunch of them and try to actually overwhelm you. That is my hope.
Okay.
So you're ready?
I'm passing my turn.
So not playing a land has me scared for your hand, but I will draw for turn. And then, I did get this Dandan.
Yeah, it resolves.
That the only Dandan you got?
It's the only Dandan I got. I have to pass the turn.
Okay.
There's more, I assume, over there.
About to have a major counterspell war.
All right, I'm gonna go to my turn. So I'm untapping. You have stuck a Dandan #1 of the post-diminishing returns era.
There's 1 in exile.
And there's 1 in exile.
1 or 2.
I think maybe 2, just 1.
Is that what they mean with
2 in exile. 2 in exile.
2 in exile.
2 in exile.
Dandan.
Okay, that's a Dandan.
Cards in hand?
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
I
7.
know. Dandan?
Jeez, Sam.
Yeah.
Sam.
Yeah, prof, Roger.
Roger.
That's it, actually.
I would like to memory lapse it.
Okay. Here we go again.
Here we go with the counter war.
God, okay.
I'm predicting it. Counter.
Gosh. I'm gonna tap Is It Boilerworks
Yeah.
for memory lapse on your memory lapse.
Okay. That will resolve,
'Kay.
but with that on the stack.
So this is now in the yard,
Yes.
and now we're still on Dandan on the stack.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to cycle this lonely sandbar.
Nice. Yeah.
Does that?
So in response, I'm going to tap 2 to cycle Remote Isle.
In response, I would like to predict.
Whoa! This is so wild.
In response, I will memory lapse countering or naming predict.
Okay. In response, I would like to magical hack your original Dandan.
In response, I'm going to magical hack your Dandan.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So,
Diminishing returns sets up the
yeah,
best blue.
yeah, and then we're
wizard
down to
lore. I
almost
know.
no cards again. So let's see how this plays out.
Yes.
Okay. So this magical hack destroys this Dandan.
Correct. So that's dead, and this is in the yard again.
Then this magical hack destroys this Dandan.
Correct. So that's dead, and then this is now back in the yard again.
Then this predict
Is
wa-
memory lapsed, so that goes to the top, and this goes to the yard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then you draw off your remote isle,
Correct. So now cycling resolves.
Yes.
So I'm gonna draw off of my remote isle.
and then I draw from my lonely sandbar, which
Yeah.
is my memory lapse.
Great. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm tapped out, but I stuck a Dandan, which is really important, and I'm passing to you.
Yes, 3 cards in hand, one of which is a predict.
This game is the best game ever.
Magic.
How would Dandan Commander work, I wonder?
I've thought about it.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
I've been thinking about it this game.
Yeah.
Well, I will try to mind bend this Dandan.
Yeah, I'm tapped out, so it resolves. That sucks. Yeah. Here we are again.
And here we are again, and I will pass the turn. No
Oh, really?
Dandans
Okay.
in sight.
All right, so I'm untapping. We've got Boilerworks over here. Depths, here we go. All right, I'm drawing my card for turn.
Gonna predict?
No.
No.
Pass.
I will play this island, and I will pass.
Okay, end of turn, we're going to cast Predict. There's an argument to hold that, but I want to be proactive, so.
Sure.
Okay, so top of the library, Temple of Epiphany.
Okay.
How sick is this?
That will be sick.
Oh,
Oh, Dandan! Dandan
Okay.
goes into the
God,
graveyard
that's so
too.
bad. I know. We're almost out of
Draw
threats
cards.
again, so I'll draw a card.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 4 more Dandans left.
All right, I'm gonna untap. Yeah, Dandan was probably the right choice. All right, draw a card. No way. Temple of Epiphany.
You get a scry though.
Yeah, I get a scry. That's gonna go to the bottom.
That's good to see.
Yeah. And gosh, I was 1 card off. You
Yeah.
telling me that? Okay, how many?
Take inventories are in the graveyard?
No, get out of my head.
There's none.
Okay, so I'm not doing anything. Your turn.
If you scryed it to the bottom, that should tell me you don't have to take inventory. But you asking that now makes you think you do have an inventory.
Battle with you.
Either way, I would like to play Dandan.
What's the guy's name in Princess Bride? His actual name in the show. Not the actor, but the character's name. The Sicilian, you know?
Yeah, one sec, please. I know this. It's
It's like a weird Italian name.
Vincenzo.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I can't right now. I'm drawing
That's
a blank.
okay. No, it's
Memory.
fine.
I forgot. I forgot.
I have two. It's on the tip
Memory
of my
lapse.
tongue. All right.
Too invested in the
Let
game.
us know in the comments.
What's his name? It's like Frazzini or something.
Yeah.
All right, so you cast Dandan.
Yeah, are there any responses?
Ah, God, here we go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 mana total. I'm gonna cast Memory Lapse on Dandan with a Temple or an Is It Boilerworks tapped.
I will let that resolve.
Oh baby. Now if I predict.
So I would now like to cast a Take Inventory.
Nice.
That draws me into the Dandan.
Correct. Sure. Yeah, it resolves.
Wow.
I will then cast the Dandan.
Yeah, it resolves.
And then I will pass the turn.
End of turn. Supplant form.
I would like to repulse my own Dandan.
You have mana? Yeah, you have 3.
I have 3 mana exactly, so.
God. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So what it
sounds
does,
good.
it will bounce a Dandan, I get to draw a card, and then
Yeah.
it fizzles as a plant form.
Yeah, sounds good. Gosh, George, I cannot kill you. George, you're so slippery.
Yeah, well,
Slippery Georgial.
that's how they called me in high school. Slippery Georgial. It's your turn.
All right, untap, upkeep. I'm gonna draw a card. You have a Dandan.
I have a Dandan.
All right, I'm gonna start with my own take inventory on.
that's
Is It
2
Boilerworks.
cards.
Yeah, so I'm casting to draw 2.
Yes.
Okay, so we're
I am
drawing-
tapped out. I
Yeah,
am
tapped out. This is my window.
How the boomers say
go.
F6'd.
Dandan.
Is that what boomers say already? Magic Online?
Yeah.
I cannot kill George. I'm trying so hard. All right,
know.
Dandan, and then, your turn.
My turn. Well. I would like to cast this Dandan.
Yes, it resolves.
And then I have so many islands, but it's still not enough.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to supplant form and keep up memory lapse, maybe?
I will.
You know? What you got?
I would like to pass priority and end the turn.
Your ending turn.
Yeah.
Okay, end of turn, I'm casting Metamorphose on your Dandan, so that returns it to the top of its owner's library, and then you can put a creature into play from your hand.
So I would like to cast Unsubstantiate.
Okay, targeting.
Targeting my own Dandan.
Okay, sure.
So this resolves.
Yep.
This goes into my hand,
Yep.
and then I would like to cast Narset Reversal, targeting the Metamorphose.
Okay, so how's it gonna work?
So since this hasn't resolved yet, it didn't fizzle yet.
Yes.
Is my understanding, meaning that now I get to target the Dandan.
Okay, so then you're trying to put this on top of the library.
Yes.
Okay, so that'll resolve. So this goes back to my hand.
Yes.
Okay, and then
I will put this back on top of the library, and you get to put a creature into play if you have one.
which I don't.
So put it on top.
Yep.
And then you draw the Dandan, and we're back to where we started.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They told
And then-
me, by the way, they said to me, it goes really fast. They say you play it in between rounds. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe we should get a bunch of different Dan decks and do a bunch of rounds. And we'll see. It's really fast, Prof. I'm worried there won't be enough for a full episode.
The best part is people that are gonna click on this episode see it's 4.5 hours long,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Yeah, that's a Dandan game." If I
No, they're just gonna think it's a Rhystic Studies video.
ooh, you got me.
It's my end step, so you get to do something.
All right, at the end of your turn, nonetheless, I'm going to tap 1 blue, I'm going to tap. I always mix up the cyclers. I'm gonna tap an Is It Boilerworks for 2 mana and cycle a remote isle.
Sure.
So I'm gonna draw Dandan.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you get to untap.
And then I'm going to untap.
Interesting.
Do you have any effects?
Nope.
Gosh, I just want to stick one, and this is gonna be the most satisfying Dandan win of my life. All right, I'm going to cast Dandan.
Okay, I would like to memory lapse the
Swear
Dandan.
to Nick Floyd. I swear to Nick Floyd. Okay, you're casting Memory Lapse on Dandan.
Yes.
It's either going to be the most satisfying Dandan win or the most humiliating Dandan defeat if you lose to George.
Okay.
That resolves.
Yep.
So it goes to the top. God, I hate you.
Do you wish you had that remote island now?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Dandan.
Okay. That does resolve.
God, I cannot get away from this.
Okay.
Chart a course.
Wow. That's bad. Okay, yeah, sure.
All right, draw 2.
Yeah.
And discard 1. I like all of these cards.
Discard the Dandan.
Yeah, really, like, put them on it. Okay,
Like-
I'm going to discard a memory lapse.
Okay, that's good.
And then I'm gonna cast Dandan.
Okay.
This might be the win, though. I might have done it.
Maybe.
I've assembled Dandantron. Go ahead.
I would like to draw for
I
turn.
feel like 2 Dandans here wins
I would like to play this Dandan.
against anyone else except George.
And then I will pass the turn with 2 cards in hand.
End of turn, I'm going to cast Metamorphose on your Dandan on Is It Boilerworks. I have no cards in hand.
I would like to Narset Reversal on this Metamorphose.
God, okay.
Meaning I will bounce it to your hand.
Yeah,
And I get to remove this Dandan.
okay. So I'm going to cast Metamorphose again on your Dandan.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to let that resolve.
All right,
so-
so that goes to the top, and then this goes to the yard, and now you have Reversal also on the
copy.
top?
Yes.
Okay.
And then now you get to untap.
If your last card is Magical Hack, it's not Magical Hack. If your last card is Mind Bend,
Mindbend is over there.
attack with Dandan.
I would like to.
I
only had the island.
The toll.
God, you really made me.
I did make you earn it. I tried so hard. I tried so hard.
You got so far, but in the end, it's the boats that matter.
Yes. Well, the fish.
Well, the boats too.
So, Prof, you want
What do you think?
I came here wanting to play fish. I thought we were playing Merfolk. I just brought my Merfolk decks. Brought the wrong fish. I forgot that Dandan was a different format. I'd love to try one of those other color Dandan decks, like mono red, you said,
Yeah.
mono black.
Yep.
Maybe I'll check that out and we can shuffle up and play at dinner.
Love it.
Let's go do
Awesome.
it.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
All right.
Well, it wasn't the fish that I wanted, but it was the fish that I think I deserved to see in action. What a format. I think it's really cool. I'm not joking when I say I want to try out those other Dandan decks in other colors and this one. It was a really interesting thing about Magic the Gathering that fan-made formats like Commander often turn out to be some of the best and most exciting ways to play the game. We've got links to the Dandan lists in this video's description. You might want to check them out. They're not that expensive.
So just as Prof mentioned, one of the most charming elements of this format is that it came from the community, and especially someone who's been playing the game for as long as the game has been around. So shout out to Nick Floyd. It's one of our favorite ways to play Magic. You just have one deck. You can play in between rounds. You don't have to worry about matching power levels. And as you saw in our episode, there's a lot of intricacies in the texture of the gameplay and the cards. So this was a special episode for me because I got to show off a side of Magic that is not omnipresent in Magic media. I hope you enjoyed, and like Prof said, you gotta give it a shot. Even if you're not a blue mage at all, it's gonna teach you a lot about how to play Magic well. And just the fact that it's a homegrown format is one of my favorite parts about it. So shout out to Forgetful Fish, Dandan for life.
I do love Dandan. Dandan is scratches just like a little bit of a different itch. All the cards do just one specific thing, but your creativity kind of adds to it. Even though I lost this game, I was always the underdog, and you know, what are Germans but lovable underdogs?
Next time on Shuffle Up and Play.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Players learn Magic the Gathering.
I'm Paul from Team APS. I'm playing the Warhammer Precon.
I'm Alec. I'm playing Dog Meat.
I am Larry from Team APS, Davros, the Dalek creator.
The precon I selected is Samwise Gamgee. I have created upgrade packets for you.
Cast Supply Llama.
Is that a Fortnite llama?
Yes, it is.
Wait,
alliance.
did we make an alliance or did you? He just shakes
People
that.
with
He
dog
didn't even
are-
negotiate.
It's very vanilla.
I've been described as very vanilla.
And we are going to start my villain phase.
Let me get this straight. Lose a card.
Yes.
Or you gain a card.
It's a villainous choice. I'm sorry. Heaven again.
Yeah, there's some
Is
of the
that
upgrades.
Ash?
Wait, I think I know this name.